Well, hello, friends. How are you? I'm host Eric, host of Talking with Famous People, and I'll be your tour guide today as we talk about people. The time reset. I wonder what that means. Did it just start for reals? Was it lying previously? Hi, I'm host Eric, host of Talking with Famous People. Come on in, kitty. You'd like to be inside, huh? Well, who can blame you?
It is pretty windy out there.
It's supposed to be raining this evening for too long. We're supposed to be sitting in a rain so strong that if you said it wet, you wouldn't be wrong.
That was delightful. Thank
Thanks. Welcome to Eric's Instant Poetry Symposium, in which I turn random things into instant poetry.
That's not easy to do for everyone. Like, I have questions for Frank James. Like, does he get tongue-tied a lot? Because I find myself getting tongue-tied, especially if I don't practice. You know, like, because my ignoring...
Probably does practice.
What?
He's probably a practicer.
He probably is a practicer. Practice, practice, practice.
You know what they say it makes?
Perfect.
That's right. That's what they say. That's why every day, Rachel and I practice loving each other.
We do, actually. We
and
really
that's
do.
what makes for a perfect relationship.
Aww. My goodness, I love sitting so close to you. It's so nice.
Hi, I'm Barry, and this is Stephanie.
Hi.
And we're here tonight to talk about love and relationships. If you're in a relationship, if you have love problems, if you're seeking the right person, you're in the right place. Now, Stephanie was mentioning earlier that she thinks it's so important to find the right color of soul resonance.
I do.
Ours, she says, is a blue, right?
Yes, because blue is the color of the throat chakra, and that talks about love.
So the throat chakra represents your voice, your authentic, true voice and spirit. Welcome, if you're just joining us, to Barry and Stephanie's Throat Chakra Experience Hour.
I love that the throat chakra is with throat. It's like, I'm over it.
The Throat Chakra Experience Hour. If you can fit more than 7 chakras in your throat, you are really, really slutty.
Really? I like that advice. INFP INTJ says Valerie asks.
As a couple?
Yeah.
I mean, the problem with it is INTJ is a analyst and INFP is an executive. So I tend to think that analysts are better off with other analysts and executives better off with other executives. So, like, for example, as an INFP, another executive would be, the extroverted executive would be ESTP, I guess. But what's the feeling executive in that? Let's see. ISFJ. So, well, what I mean by the term executive is simply that you have a experiential function first and a communicative function second. Okay, so when I'm talking about these groupings I'm making are based on metaphysicality or physicality of functions, or what you might call communicative or experientialness of functions. So, like Rachel and I both start with, we have our first 2 functions are both communication functions. And so I call those types, which are ENFJ, INFJ, ENTP, INTP, the meta-analysts. And I refer to the types that have a communicative function first and a non-communicative function second as the analysts. That's INTJ, ENFP, ISTP, and ESFJ. And then I call the executives the ones that go physical first and then metaphysical. And that includes INFP because they have FI first, which is physical, and then NE, which is metaphysical. And it includes ESTPs, go SETI. It includes ISFJs who go SI FE, and it includes ENTJ.
See,
who has physical TE then NI.
I need to, when you're napping, maybe a goal of mine will be to start memorizing. I've said this before. I'm such a slacker.
We could put papers up on the wall to remind us.
Yeah.
Of things, you know.
I'll do one of at least the 4 slots, the conscious slots of each type, and then I can help.
Okay, well, Valerie, as a general principle, I tend to think that introverts are better suited with extroverts than they are with other introverts, and vice versa, you know? So I think that my extrovert relationship worked well because it was so structured around an agreed upon role for each of us. So it worked for a while, but as a relationship in and of itself, it didn't really work. You know, it's like we both fulfill our expected roles adequately for the other person. And since neither of us were paying much attention to NI or FI, it was good enough, you know.
Is that with the ESFJ?
Yeah, I'm thinking about with the ESFJ.
Yeah.
You've been married for 40 years, though. Are you with an INTJ? Oh, well, I mean, you got to tell me, you got to tell me to begin with, I'm in a good relationship with an INTJ.
Yes.
So what do you think about that pairing?
Yes.
The fact is, what I think about it in the abstract is different than what I think about your relationship.
Yeah. So tell us a little bit about your relationship.
It's like, the thing is, it may not be the case that all INFJs and ENTPs get along so well as Rachel and I do.
Yes.
Because we're both also type 7 Enneagrams. I think that kind of is important. So
I think it is. I've done a lot of Enneagram work and like studying, and I really did come to the conclusion that 7s are best with 7s. I know that there's other places where you could read different, but I have yet to be as happy. You know, like I have yet to find a better type for 7 than another 7.
We both tend to prioritize not placing expectations on the other person.
Yeah, I'm not going to do that. I don't like that being done to me.
So, but here's the thing. Going back to the basic question of INFP, INTJ, if you're asking in a default sense, how do those two types match up? What I would say is a better type compatibility would be ISFJ because they're the same. If you're going to go introvert. Mm-hmm. So the thing is, if you're asking me to compare type compatibilities against other type compatibilities, I'll say one answer. If you're asking me to explain why your relationship works or doesn't work, despite the fact that you are meh, then that's a whole different question.
Yeah,
you know, so it's like talking about it in the abstract generally does not necessarily apply to you, depending on your specific circumstances. It's had some rough scrapes. I mean, Rachel and I have had some tough times early on. They were linked to a specific sort of problem, like a medical issue that we had to get addressed, mental health issue that we had to get addressed successfully.
It was also, very metaphysical because it's a mental illness. So it's metaphysical. You don't, you being SI, like, you had to experience like what it was like for me to be in that state. And honestly, he had to make a decision too, whether or not he was able to deal with that. And it wasn't until I got the right medication that we really started to blossom. So,
Well, I was thinking earlier today though about examples of bad NI for each of the types. So, an example of bad NI for an ESFP is, I just read about fecal retention. Do you know you lose tons of nutrients when you poop? It's like the worst possible front slot NI. And then I was thinking about like my dad's version of bad NI. I put this over there instead of my pocket. Is that he's missing some plastic containers from a drawer, so someone must have walked through our house in the middle of the night and stolen plastic containers.
Yeah.
Which is just insane, right? That's NI polar. Or ESFJ's example of NI polar is, I want you to write me a love letter that says this. It's like, no, look, my dad is incredibly fine mentally.
Yeah, he is.
It really is. It somewhat has to do with him being old and sort of not caught up with all the technologies in some instances. But this is something that's happened. I mean, I know my dad for my entire life, obviously, so he's always been like this. I remember one time he insisted when I was a kid that I must have started smoking. This is before I actually did start smoking. Because he found a cigarette cellophane thing like at the back of the driveway. And I'm like, but Dad, isn't it just as likely it sort of blew there by the wind or something? It's not windy today. I'm like, but it's not mine. I don't know what to tell you. It's like it could have been on the tire of the car. Who knows how it got there? I have no idea. But my dad insists there must be some explanation that he can know because it's his tool function, right? But he doesn't have any universal thing to know. He doesn't know universally very effectively, so he draws wild conclusions from things.
Yeah. Generally, when I'm correct about NI, I tend to keep it to myself. It's a habit because I found that when I give NI advice, not a lot of people like to hear it. So I've learned that sometimes not saying anything at all is better than saying something.
Well, in this instance, I'm talking about examples of NI used badly by each type specifically.
Oh.
So, like, INTJs periodically use it badly. INFJs use it badly in certain specific ways.
Yeah.
ENTPs use it badly. And this is where I was actually going with this. Is the example I came up for an ENTP using NI badly is Rachel telling me, I've got bipolar mania, and me going, oh, well, I'm sure that's just bullshit anyway. Having no experience with it and assuming as a consequence that it was not significant at all, right? And then getting to experiencing and realizing, oh, this is a real thing.
Yeah.
Are we going to be talking about talking famous people? We're just talking about people in general.
I am very FE, Valerie Elwood. I have FE in my second slot as my tool function. So I tend to use it a lot when in company.
So, like leaf tremor, that would sound like kind of, I guess, maybe, probably sounds kind of like a bad 8 slot NI.
Ooh, Lauren.
That you're really trying to impose your own frame of reference, like as a universal in a weird way that supports your personal knowledge. It sounds more like 8 slot NI, those kind of things that you say.
Do you think there's a chance that Bill Murray could be an ENTP?
It's possible, sure. I think I typed him earlier as an INTP,
so.
But I don't know. No, we've never typed leaf tremor. He self-identifies as an INTP, and he seems fairly committed to that identity.
We know how that goes. So when that happens, we stick with it. Are we going to be talking about famous people? talking famous? Are we going to be talking about talking famous people? I mean, I want to know what's up with Kim Kardashian and Kanye West. Are they like breaking up, or was that just a ploy for the papers so that they could increase their views for their last season of Keeping Up with the Kardashians?
Okay, so the thing is, I would suggest that would be an example of INFJ NI run amok, right? That it makes more sense that they're just going through the natural break up, get back together kind of thing that people do when they break up. Most breakups aren't like super
You're
clean.
right. You're right.
So it would make it wouldn't be out of the ordinary for it to naturally be occurring this way. But INFJs and INTJs alike both like to attribute intention to things where I don't necessarily think there's any intentionality.
Yeah, because they haven't heard anything else about it. And of course, I'm like, I am a pop culture, like, I want to say slut. That's the first thing that comes to my mind. But like, I have my vices, and my vice is pop culture. I love pop culture. And
the other thing is, though, Rachel, is you might very well turn out to be right about something like that. I find out later that you are right, and then I sort of respect that, but at the same time, I think, but it still didn't justify the conclusion in the first place. Of course, that's the difference between somebody who's ignoring NI and somebody who's has a front stack conscious. Is it doesn't. Is Leaf Trimmer saying you're Kyra? Lauren Cuthbert is not Kyra.
No, they're not.
Lauren Cuthbert wants to get typed, and she wants to get typed live. She's not Kyra. It's
is that a bad is that a good example of bad NI?
Yeah, it's generalizing too much from your personal experience. This person must be someone you've experienced before, right? It's making NI fit an SI frame of reference in general. You're ascribing an external objective frame. Well, I don't think that's objectively the case. I don't think it's objectively the case that extroverted males and introverted females are the natural order of things, and that relationship will be successful, whereas the opposite, extroverted female, introverted male, cannot be successful because the male doesn't take a leadership position, and therefore all introverted males need to be with other introverted females. I think that's absolutely insane. And if you think about it, you'll think it's insane too. I mean, why would you try to conscribe everybody to this limitation that you're artificially making based on what, It's like whether or not, Rachel and I have, I would hope to say, a democratic relationship, which is, neither of us wants to be the boss of the other person. We don't like that role. I don't want to be the leader.
I don't want to be the leader either. I want things to be fair. I like balance in a relationship. I do not like power discrepancies. It makes me uncomfortable.
Yeah, being in a good relationship is two people caring about each other as individuals. It doesn't require this hierarchical distinction that you want to impose upon.
Yeah, like the person wearing the pants in a relationship.
When a relationship resolves down to that, there's probably something wrong with the relationship. If in fact there's frequent occasions where one person has to put their foot down and assert a boundary, then you're not naturally on the same page.
I have a question. It's about this on-side same pageness.
Mm-hmm.
So if I were out with you and a random person, say we were at a shop, and the cashier gives me a compliment, tells you, "Oh, your girlfriend's you're pretty." Would you be jealous, or would you take that as a compliment?
I take it as a compliment.
See, that's healthy. That's a healthy relationship. If you are jealous of the cashier for giving and saying it directly to you, no less, like, "Oh, your man."
I'm not worried about you being taken away from me.
I'm just saying, like, I don't have to do that with you. Like,
And
I don't worry about
we don't need to worry about that.
Right.
It's genuine
so
trust, right?
nice. Like, I've never, like, when I won that prize, which like never came through the mail, like through Adult Swim, and I was able to tell you, like, hey, like, I won this thing. You were happy for me. You were not like, oh, I'm the man. I should be winning the prizes. Like, you know, like some people are like that.
I was surprised to get that kind of, like, that you were surprised by that. I guess you've been in awful relationships before. I don't know.
Yeah, dude.
I will answer Lauren, you mad bro. Do INFPs or INTPs have poor NI?
Oh.
Well, not that which they display to the external world. They've got generally pretty good NI. But if given the liberty to apply themselves as they wish, they tend to countervalue their NI. So they don't apply it in their own lives. They probably apply it pretty well at work. FI bugs me. FI doesn't bug me. FI bugs me in certain contexts when applied to certain topics in certain ways.
Thanks, Xavier Alexander. Those are pleasant emojis. I can't see.
Okay, well, if you're just describing what the Bible ordains, then you're just saying, I'm asserting my magical thinking frame as an argument about how others normatively ought to behave. But of course, one of the qualities of a magical thinking frame is you can't use it as an argument. So there's no argument there. It's just you saying, but my magical thinking says. It's like you can personally ascribe your own assertion to your own magical thinking belief, but you can't say that it applies to other people using your own magical thinking justifications. You have to find some link to an objective explanation. Otherwise, it's not an argument at all. You're just flinging woo. And when a guy at a store compliments my girl's attractiveness, he might as well be saying, I really like your glasses, man. So like, obviously, you have to read those kind of situations. There are situations in which somebody could behave in ways that I find like rolling up on me in that regard. It's conceivable. It's never happened, but it could. And in which case my 8 would probably come out, you know? Tattoos with no real meaning. They say things like "I am love" or something. Really irks me if the person can't explain why they got it. Is this just your random feelings? That's interesting, Lauren Cuthbert. That would tend to suggest that there's a sort of an area of confluence between ENTP and ENFP perceptions of SFPs. That seems like sense. An SFP thing to do.
Yes.
It's like a way that ENFPs and ENTPs both agree that this SFP bullshit is bullshit.
Yes, totally. My dad was always like, to me and my sister and my brother, ugh, tattoos. Don't ever get them. Don't ever get them. Oh, if you get a tattoo, oh. Like that was like the worst thing we could do. Of course, my sister has, I think, 2.
I'm really glad that, it's like, this is a personal frame of reference here. I'm not saying it's necessarily good or bad to get tattoos, but I personally am glad that Rachel doesn't have any tattoos. I'm glad she's never been married. I'm glad she doesn't have any kids. It makes for, a rare combination of things at 30 something to be able to get as a girlfriend,
It's so, I feel the same way towards you. It's so nice to have someone who is a Gen Xer and who has a daughter who is over the age of 18, you know, and who has had a full life and career before, you know, before like meeting me, so that we could really like, I don't know, just nest together. It's very nice. It's the best relationship I've ever been in.
Leaf Trimmer, you can't just choose to ascribe to that objective frame. The point is, magical thinking frames and objective frames are different things inherently. The fact that it has the power of magical thinking prevents it and precludes it from also being an objective frame. You can't have both things. You can't have your cake and eat it too. That you're just countervaluing TI.
Do INFPs get tattoos? I knew one INFP who had a tattoo, I believe. I don't know.
My penis is a tattoo, and it has my penis has a tattoo of the Virgin Mary's face on it.
Wow.
Yeah. It's
Is that why people get down on their knees and pray?
must explain your behavior, yes. No, I don't really have a tattoo of the Virgin Mary on my penis. Who here votes in favor of me getting a tattoo of the Virgin Mary on my penis?
I mean, I have to say yes.
It's the objective truth.
She is the ultimate ISFJ mother. I have to give credit where credit is due. That'd be your penis. Okay.
But Leaf Trimmer, is it a matter of faith or not? Because faith, remember, is belief in the absence of evidence or in the face of contrary evidence.
And then it says that in the Bible too.
So you can't have it both ways. That's what you're doing, just demonstrating countervalue TI, that you don't like TI. And your NI is going to be subject to your SI. You're demonstrating all of the qualities of an ISTJ in terms of your arguments and stuff. So it's not an issue I really ever wanted to bring up formally, but it's like that's not an argument you're making. You're just saying, well, if I arbitrarily claim it's objective, then that's fine though, right? Otherwise I wouldn't be so invested in it. Well, sure, if you don't care about being logically consistent about anything, if you think that doesn't matter, if you don't want to apply that, you're not hearing a kitten or a cat, you're hearing a peacock. Yes, a peacock.
Yes, Naughty. That is
in the background, the peacock's go.
It sounds like a cat. At first. Thank you, Vincent Mazcat. He does have a nice beard.
But remember the definition of faith, Leaf Trimmer. Faith is belief in the absence of evidence or in the face of contrary evidence. You can't have both. In other words, you can't have evidence, good evidence, and faith. If you think you can, that's countervaluing, not caring about TI at all.
Sky here.
Is that your own peacock or is the neighborhood's peacock? There's peacocks all over the neighborhood. Mm-hmm. We do have one peacock who comes and hangs out with us, but he doesn't sleep with us. He doesn't sleep back here in the backyard. He has his chum tree out in the street that he sleeps in.
Yeah.
And
although I will say during storms, he does feel most comfortable on our porch, or actually Eric's dad's porch, which I think is sweet. He is a very good-looking peacock. He's a very good-looking peacock. Yes, they are loud. And they are not afraid of cars at all, so they cross in the middle of the street and you kind of have to go around them or, stop for them.
No, I'm saying faith is not irrelevant. I'm saying faith is exclusive of objectivity.
Right.
But you can't say something objectively so and say you have faith in it concurrently.
It's what makes it so complicated and difficult to, at least for me, to
that's what it means to not have, and actually don't have faith. No, I'm talking to Leaf Trimmer about his particular form of argumentation. I'm not talking about your NI6 or whatever. NI6, whether or not they have faith, I don't know. I tend to find backslot NI is probably less likely to be engaged in magical thinking frames, but it really depends on your experience. If you're backslot NI, then your front slot SI, So if at some point you've internalized experientially that this is part of your identity, then, depends. But
Farming Fox, what is your new icon? It looks like a tornado.
So my complaint here, to be clear, Valerie Alwood, is not that people who have NI 6 slot are likely to have, or not likely to have faith or anything. It's that there's got to be, you probably have NI and TI backslot if you want to claim that you both have faith and that it's objectively so. Okay, so it's like, my point is, it's important. I don't know what you're talking about, David Sanders. I've never heard of it before. What you're talking about? You overvalue the evidence for it over faith because I honestly don't trust things on faith. Well, then it's not. Then you shouldn't believe in God. If you don't have faith, then you shouldn't believe in God. There's not. If you say that you believe in God for objective reasons, then you don't argue or think well. So that makes you not an INTP. Your brain's as sharp as a pencil's eraser end. It's a picture of a lifeguard tower at the beach. Right. I'm not hating on faith at all. I have a faith-based frame that I apply appropriately, but I distinguish it from objective frames because it's distinct from them. And so I make the distinction appropriately. Because I'm a TI tool user, I do that. I make appropriate distinctions. And I require people to adhere to the rule that you can't have your cake and eat it too. You can't both say that you have faith in God and claim that you objectively have proof of God. That's just insane. It's like saying that you are, faith is above objectivity. No, it's distinct from objectivity in definable ways. In other words, faith is belief in the absence of evidence or in the face of contrary evidence, whereas belief because of evidence is an objective frame, right? Yeah. Because of justifications or consistency. The amount of evidence of God is unbelievable. Well, then why should I believe it? That's not an argument. That's not an argument, Leaf Drummer. That's just whatever. No, faith is not a delusion, Desert INTJ. Faith is belief in the face of contrary evidence or in the absence of evidence. And that doesn't make it delusional necessarily. If you are able to metaframe properly and recognize it as a frame of reference that's appropriately applied where appropriately applied, then it's appropriate to apply it. Well, my position is that faith is a behavior, manifests as a behavior, not really as belief. But if you want to define it as behavior, then I win even more. I'm giving you a more conventional definition of faith because it's less likely to run afoul of framework argument, basically. Good question, Ferretti Forgiato. What if God was one of us? Just a slob like one of us? just something
Stranger on bus.
stranger on the bus waiting or
Trying to make his way
trying
home.
to make his way home. What if that were the case? Have you thought about that, Leaf Trimmer?
See?
Have you been looking on the bus for God?
I think that's like...
What do you mean unbelievable proof? What is this term you keep using? Unbelievable proof.
Thank you, Running Fox. See? Running Fox and me, no.
Faith is not a belief. No, it's a behavior. It's a behavior of choosing to behave as though something were true, despite not having an objective frame of reference to validate it. So, for example, when I pray, I am praying to a God, right? So one might conclude that therefore I believe in that God or assert his existence. My perspective is those frames of reference don't mix. It's like putting birds in your aquarium. It's a bad idea. In other words, I don't make argumentation when I'm praying. It's not an argumentational process. My decision to pray is not predicated on me affirming any particular statement about God's existence, right? So it's a category error to do what Leaf Trimmer is doing.
I feel like I've never felt more like I look like my dad than right now. Like, I feel like if I had one more chain, I would like so look like...
Does your dad like chains?
Yeah, my dad like he used to wear his Saints chain and like this one other like chain. My mom was very happy when he stopped wearing them, but I'll always remember him with them.
I mean, I think the best way to distinguish knowledge from belief is knowledge is relatively absolute and belief is absolutely relative. So what that means is that which we know because it's definitionally or argumentationally so. But that's contextually limited, right? So it's limited to the context in which those definitions are made and the arguments in which are made underneath those definitions. Whereas belief is empirically justified. It's the best conclusion we have given the amount of empirics there are, but it can change over time. So our understanding of why things happen changes and evolves over time as our empirics change. But that which is conditionally true is absolutely true under the conditions of which it's true. In other words, it's basically tautologically true. So what we can derive tautologically from assumptions is knowledge predicated on the assumptions being true. What we can derive from empirics is belief predicated on the empirics not changing.
You know, it's funny, Valerie Elwood. I am a sister of a younger sister and a younger brother.
She's a sister of the Hearts of Immaculate Mercy.
How did you know? I was trying to be humble about it.
You're a nun.
My grandma McCurkin wanted me to be a nun, but it didn't work out. Yeah. But when we were little, my sister and I looked more similar, and everyone like always used to be like, my aunt Leslie always used to be like, Rachel, who do you look more like? So I always wondered as I was growing up who I looked more like. Then one day I was looking at a video of myself because I was taking an acting class, and this was in 2015. And I look at myself and I'm like, oh my God, I look like my Uncle Paul. And I was like, that is the weirdest thing. Like, it's weird to see. It's weird watching yourself on camera, like, when you're acting. Because, like, you're in different positions and you're, like, all over the place. And, yeah, I was like, wow, I look like my Uncle Paul. And then I went to visit my grandma at the nursing home that she's in New York, like, a year ago. And the nurse that like works with my grandma, McCurkin, was like, oh, you look so much like your grandmother. Oh. So I look more like my mom's side than my dad's. I have one younger sister and one younger brother. I'm the eldest of three. And I have done a DNA test. Well, I don't know. I've done 23andMe. Is that a DNA test? I don't think I've never done a DNA test. But I used to like be obsessed with like knowing if my parents like really had me or not. Like I would like press them hard. I'd be like, was I adopted? Seriously, was I adopted? I'm so different. Why? And they were just like, no. And one day my mom actually finally told me, she was like, we had two, or it was my grandma Lapalosa. I don't know. My grandma Lapalosa didn't ever hold the truth back from me, which I appreciate now. But she said that either my mom said or my grandma Lapalosa said that I was born after my mom had 2 miscarriages. So like, yeah. So that like my grandma prayed for me and she had faith, and here I am. So
You were a live birth.
yep, I was a live birth. That was my grandma Lapalosa prayed for.
I was also a live birth, by the way. I'm in the live birth club.
Oh my gosh, you're in the live birth, and we have your birth certificate too. To say it when you're running for president and people want to know if you were an American, you have the evidence. I really was afraid of being adopted. I honestly was like, I don't fit in. Like,
where I had the fear that somebody else expressed around here at one point, that I don't remember who else expressed it, but that I used to be afraid I was secretly retarded, and then my parents were paying my friends to be my friends.
aww, metaphysicals.
Eventually, I kind of worked my way out of that problem. I don't remember really. Oh, you had that fear as well? That must be an alpha quadrant fear.
That's right.
Yeah, I used to fear that too. I went through a phase also when I was about 11 or 12 years old, where I was very afraid of nuclear war. And the thing that made me get over that is my mom told me, well, if there is a nuclear war, everybody else has to die too. I was like, oh, that's true. That's fair then.
That is so TI cool. That's fair. Hi, Pee. It's so nice to have you inside here. We miss you when you're inside, or I miss you when you're inside.
Hello. You're not going to want to be outside tonight. It's going to be rainy.
It's going to be
raining
stormy.
cats and dogs.
Yeah.
But not your kind of cat.
Not your kind of cat.
Raindrops instead.
Raindrops.
No, you see, Leaf Charmer, you're missing the point here. There's no point to arguing about God, is the basic point I'm making. If you're arguing about God's existence, then you're not displaying a faith-based relationship with God.
Too. And I love the piano.
And it's like playing the accordion at a funeral. It's not appropriate.
Oh, morale.
Does tiredness affect how people score on function tests? Yes or no?
Yes. No.
Probably not.
Yes.
Probably not.
So, you know how we were talking about you've had 7 lives? No, I've had 7 lives. How many lives have you had, you think?
I'd have to count them. There's like childhood, there's high school through, then there's college, then there's single time post college, then there's marriage, then there's second marriage, then there's single time with relationships, then there's Kimberly, then there's this. So,
well,
however many that is.
I don't know, but for some reason, my Italian side comes out when Delilah's here, and I feel like an old Italian lady. Like somewhere back in my life, I was like an old Italian lady. I was only an old Italian lady, and I used to give candy and like money to like the kids who like came by. Like that, I just feel that in my soul.
All right. Well, just like I know I was in a previous life a Russian figure skater dancer.
Oh,
Lady.
yeah, that's right.
Antonia.
A gymnast, no?
Oh, was I a gymnast?
I thought a gymnast.
I thought, I did both.
I don't know.
I did both. I was both a figure skater for the Winter Olympics and a gymnast for the Summer Olympics.
Wow.
Yeah. All right, fine, lady.
Morale. Oh, Morale, what a smart kitty who knows the weather's changing. Yes, it's better for you to be inside with mommy and daddy. It is. Yes, Peepee.
All right, Lauren.
Yes, Peepee.
Come on down. You're our next contestant on The Type is Right.
If you want, if it makes you feel better, I'm gonna be in on this.
It's an impossible question to answer, David Sampson, without knowing what the proof is.
Thanks, Valerie Alwood. Well, when Delilah comes over here, like I feel like I'm like my grandma Lapalosa. Like I'm like, oh, I have a little something for you.
Listen, Lauren, I'm gonna record
all
this.
the time, and it won't happen all the time. I just.
Oh, you want to not put your camera on? That's fine.
That's fine.
You're not going to be able to be seen in the stream right now. You'll just be able to hear your voice. Don't block me. Not antagonizing with intention like that. I am blocking you, Xavier Alexander, whose first name is a scream.
I like that you use the Space Invader emoji. It is underused, in my opinion. And I am one of those people who underuse it. No bullying here. Karma's pimp. Let her do her thing.
Please don't bully me for my cerulean butthole. Okay?
It's very special.
It doesn't make me different or weird. It makes me special.
Yeah.
This is a bully-free zone. A zone where whatever color your butthole is, it's fine.
Can we take a picture for Aunt Cat? Maybe?
She would love to see you. She is in love.
Morale, thank you.
You are a very morale-faced Morowingtons. United Colors of Buttington, indeed. What happened? I let her in, but she disappeared. I let her in, but she disappeared. I let her in, but now she's nowhere to be found. Yeah, yeah. You always feel bullied? Well, not around here, Valerie Alwood. Let me tell you, there are no bulls allowed, only cows. You can only be cowied around here.
Oh, yes, yes. It's very hard to take a picture of you because you don't like to be taken a picture of unless you're on a photo shoot. And I don't blame you. It's like you work all day for those pictures. Why do you want to take more? I get it.
Can God create a rock heavier than he could lift? Well, see, that the classic answer to that question is it's reasonable to expect God to do things that are physically impossible, not reasonable to expect him to do things that are logically impossible.
Thank you.
That's the textbook answer to that question. But I don't. She's still not joining me. I don't know why.
Maybe
She tried to join for a second. As she knocked, I let her in, but then she never came into the room. So I don't know what happened. Lauren Cuthbert, try again. Yes, she says it was no. It was working fine. She just didn't knock again. Lauren Cuthbert. There you are. Can you hear me?
Oh, I don't know if
Hello.
I can hear you very well.
You can't hear me very well?
You're very croaky.
Okay, let me
You sound like a frog.
how about
Oh, yeah.
now? Does that sound better?
Yeah, that's fine.
Okay. So hopefully everybody can hear the voice of Lauren Cuthbert. Let's find out what type you are, Lauren Cuthbert. Can you tell me how many uses you can think of for a bowling ball?
Aliases.
Uses.
Is that what you said?
Uses. How many uses?
Yeah, I mean, I could probably kill someone quite easily with a bowling ball.
Okay.
I could probably. What else could I do with a bowling ball? I could probably attach it to a box and make it roll around like a car.
That's true. Good.
I could probably use it as a mold for like a paper mache head.
That's a good point. I hadn't thought of that.
Sculpture. What else could I do with it? I could probably use it as a weight, or like to throw off a boat.
Anchor. Sure.
You know what I mean?
Anchor is a good point.
It down to the.
You probably have a lot of opportunities to anchor boats, so that's good. Okay. Can you tell me? Are you familiar with Inky Pinkies? Do you know the test?
You might have to explain it to me.
Okay, so the example is I give you a clue like hilltop water spout. I tell you it's an Inky Pinky, which means it has 2 syllables each, and the answer is mountain fountain. The answer always rhymes. Another example would be roadway flesh. It's an ink pink. The answer is street meat. So let's try a couple of easy ones or straightforward ones first. How about early morning yard? It's an ink pink.
Yawn lawn.
Dawn lawn, but not bad.
Yeah.
How about a drop from a barrier? Ink pink.
Full wall.
Okay. How about a luxuriant and smooth pear? It's an Inky Pinky. Luxuriant and smooth.
Pear's a very specific word.
Pear. And it's an Inky
like
Pinky. Like P-A-I-R.
Oh, okay. A rare pear?
No. It doesn't have the word in it. And it's Inky Pinky, which means it's 2 syllables each. Is anybody in the chat getting this one? It's the clue again is Octavia Supple got it. Octavia Silva got it. A supple couple. Okay. Now I would like to know, can you come up with one of these questions for me?
I think I'll do that.
Hello? Are you there? The next thing is, can you come up with one of these kind of questions for me?
Yeah, let me think. Like a let me see. A sitting grizzly.
A bear chair?
Yeah.
Okay.
It
good.
would be chair back, but yeah.
So now let me ask you some TI questions.
Cool.
If some cats like fish and some fish likers also enjoy chicken, is it necessarily the case that some cats like chicken?
Can you repeat that?
Yes. If some cats like fish and some fish likers also like chicken. Is it necessarily the case that some cats like chicken?
No, not necessarily.
Okay. If A, then B or C, and A and not C, what can we conclude?
B.
Okay. If A or B, then not C, and C, what can we conclude?
Not A or B.
Correct. Which means that is not A or B equivalent or unequivalent to not A and not B?
No, it's not equivalent.
Okay. Well, then in that case, you're wrong. But it doesn't sound like you're an ENFP.
Interesting.
Because your TI seems pretty good so far. Let me ask a couple more TI questions. You mentioned you probably took some logic classes or something. Is that right?
Yeah, a few a while ago.
Okay. All right. Okay. So who is my mother's father's wife's only daughter in relation to me?
Your mother's father is your granddad. Your wife is your grandmother. So, your daughter is that your mom?
Yeah. Okay. Your TI sounds 8th slot, 4th slot, 3rd slot, possibly 6th slot. So
I'm writing some of it down. Is that okay?
Well, yeah, I mean, it's fine.
Okay.
It's still better than polar, regardless. I don't think you're an ENFP. So let me ask you the question, SI question. So I'm going to relate to you the last few hours of my day, and then I'd like you to do the same thing for the last few hours of your day with the equivalent level of specificity and banality. Okay. So but about 3 hours ago, I got up from a nap, maybe 4 hours ago, and I was hungry, and Rachel was in here. She'd gotten the cheese out, but then she told me that my dad had gotten us a couple of steaks when he was at the store. So I said, well, let's cook one of those. And I said, let's call Delilah. And I called Delilah, and she came over, and we watched a couple episodes of My Hero Academia, which she was still watching. Rachel and I had finished it already. And we ate steaks, and we chatted about anime for a while. I asked her if she wanted to live stream about anime. She said she didn't feel like it. She didn't have her makeup on, and she was kind of tired. So then she went home, and we started doing this, and that's where we are now. Now, can you do the same thing for your last few hours?
Probably not, but I can give it a go. That was very specific. So for me, it would be this evening. I think, what was I doing this evening? I don't know where to start. I went shopping, and I walked the whole way there, and I had to get the Met back because my bags were really heavy, and I got back at about 5, and my flatmate came at 5, and then I unpacked everything, and I went upstairs and I Skyped my friend for 2 hours, and then I came downstairs, and I think I made some food. Oh no, I ate before I Skyped my friend. Yeah, I've already got that one.
Okay. All right. Fine.
Yeah.
So
that's about as good as I can do.
That's fine. I would say first off that didn't your response to the SI question and your response to my level of specificity and stuff would suggest backslot SI not 7th, possibly 8th.
Okay.
So like let's say you know we're looking at SI 8 possibly or TI 8. TI 8 can be quite equivalent to TI 3. Well, if you were SI 8 TI 3, you'd be an INFJ. Probably. I mean, well, not probably. You'd definitely be an INFJ, but you come in thinking that you're an extrovert. Am I correct?
Yeah. But I normally land somewhere in the middle.
Okay. So do you think other people think you're more extroverted than you actually are, or other people think you're more introverted than you actually are?
I don't know because I've got different responses from different people. I think people say that I'm very kind of open to spending a lot of time with people.
You're very kind of what?
A lot of time on my own. So there's not. I don't really think there's one answer.
Okay. What piece of advice would you give to the whole world if you were required to give a piece of advice? You had the mic for 30 seconds or whatever.
What would I say? What, to everyone?
Yeah, the most universal piece of advice that you can think of that would be applicable to almost everybody. Octavia Silva, can you write it out more specifically for me? Because I don't remember exactly how it goes.
I would say something like, if it has to be applied to everyone, I would probably say something like, it's important to take your time and follow your instincts when you come to make decisions, and to consider other people more, I guess, when making general actions. I'd probably say something like that. That's very generic.
Okay.
Because I guess it has to be applied to everyone.
Do you feel as though you are more likely to give subtle cues to people that are missed by other people, or miss subtle cues that are given by other people to you?
That's a really difficult question. Probably give cues that are missed by other people.
Okay. Pick 3 movies or TV shows that you've seen and name as many connections or similarities between them as you can between those movies or TV shows.
Oh, that's not going to be easy, actually. As many as possible.
Well, just start with 3 movies or TV shows that you can think of that have some similarity, and say, for example, the movies Groundhog Day, Ghostbusters, and Stripes all have Bill Murray in them.
Okay. I would say, so I watched It's a Sin recently, which is really good. And then I watched Skins a while ago, and I watched Sex Education. What else is similar?
And what's the similarity?
Well, they're all based on the stories of young people who are sort of understanding themselves at the beginning of their adolescent lives, and a lot of them kind of breach a lot of really controversial topics. So, I mean, Sex Education is about sex, and then It's a Sin is a lot about
Sex,
homosexual relationships and the AIDS virus, and Skins is a lot about
sex.
There's a lot of things that weren't just sex. Sex has been a lot of quite difficult things, I guess. Okay. They all have very similar sort of.
So, what's your experience watching stuff that's either depressing and or challenging emotionally, do you have a limited amount of that stuff you can watch? Is that stuff depressing? Would you say? I have not seen any of those shows. I don't know.
Depressing. Yeah, I mean, some of it's quite hard to watch.
So
I'd say out of the three of them, I think Skins is really depressing. It's pretty hard to watch.
How easy is it for you to cry?
Oh, I cry every day, pretty much. Well, not every day.
What do you cry about? Things you're watching or things in your actual life?
Really? I'm sorry.
Things I think about.
Beauty treatment.
Things you think about.
Like, things I watch or things that I'm thinking about that's in my life.
So is it specific people in your life or like general realities of the world that are making you cry? You're thinking about, like, for example, if your brother died and that makes you sad, or are you thinking about the decay of civil society and that makes you sad?
I mean, it's kind of difficult to imagine the decay of society as a whole. So I don't know whether I could get upset about something like that. I think I'd be upset about things that sort of suggest that would sort of lead me to that thought. Like if I saw someone who was, I don't know, if I saw someone who was homeless, if I was walking home, then I might feel really terrible and start to think about how society has become harder for people like that who are struggling. But I don't know if I'd go as far as to reach that thought. I'd probably just feel really bad for them and kind of wish that I could do more.
Okay. So you're not likely to convert that into some sort of politicized anger?
I mean, what would that manifest itself as?
Like, God damn it, this is why we need the Mias in charge so that they can take care of this problem. You know?
I would definitely be angry. But I don't know if I'd be able to extrapolate that to a political party or some like grander party. I'd probably just think about all the selfish people and what they're doing individually and maybe what they could be doing differently.
I see.
But I think about everything quite deeply, so I'd probably move on from that eventually.
Okay, so Legends Fall, FI Critic. What is that? That's 6 slot? That's possible. Okay.
This is very different.
So let me ask you about your creative impulses and so forth. Do you express yourself in any particular medium more than some other medium?
No, I think I'm spread quite easily, like across them. So I play a lot of music, I listen to a lot of music, and I write. And sometimes I paint, or I do like crafts like embroidery or knitting or these sorts of things. So I do quite a lot of them.
Okay. If you were going to write fiction, say a story, what aspect of the writing do you think you'd find easier and which more difficult? The creation of believable characters or the development of a fast-moving plot?
The creation of the characters, I think.
Okay.
I don't even think about plots when I write. I think about the people.
Okay. What do you think makes a piece of media effective as a consumer? Like for the consumers to go like, wow, that was really effective. What has it done?
I think if it makes people be able to, I think if people can relate to the experiences and emotions of characters, I think that's quite important.
Okay.
Because I think it's probably one of the most vivid things that you can experience from watching something or consuming something, is being able to relate what someone or something is saying to your own experiences and maybe extrapolate them. I guess. Does that make any sense?
Yeah, sure. Makes perfectly good sense. I'm just trying to think about what you are, and also looking at some of these things in the chat here. I agree with Oliver Lynan that you're most likely an IXFJ. But you could be an EXFJ potentially. Somebody here is suggesting ESFJ is a possibility. Let me ask, when's the last time you went out to a restaurant? Thank you, Octavia.
I mean, we're in lockdown, so.
Okay, so it's been a long time. Do you remember when it was?
Last time was I think it was when I went for brunch with my.
You're cutting out. No Upton place. That did not sound anything close to first or second. That is not first or second. That definitely is not. That was like I said at the time, it was like 8th, 4th, 3rd, or 6th. I can't hear you at all right now, by the way, Lauren. So maybe you should leave this room and come back, because sometimes that fixes the problem. I think she's probably an INFJ, but she could be an ENFJ. The bar, it's possible. I agree with you that she's an ENFJ. The writing it down part is, to sort of right off the bat do that, is very interfacey.
Megan Laboda said that she.
Yeah, right. It is very interfacey. But she's taken the kinds of classes, TI, as we've talked about, is one of the more learnable of the functions. Even though it links naturally to certain skills, it's also kind of learnable. But the thing is, I didn't see SI polar, but but she also made a point to point out that she was writing it down. So like, the thing is, she clarified that she was writing it down to make sure that I wasn't misled by it, right? That would eliminate ESFP right off the bat, because they would not want, they're trying to control my perceptions the whole time, right? Oh yeah, sure, I'll send the link again. Here is the link again. Yes, you are. Here you go. It's in the par. You lost me. Or I lost you. We lost each other. Remember that time that Lauren and I lost each other?
The sea of interwebs.
So the thing is, I didn't see the SI polar. I saw SI 8th, It sounded like, it didn't sound like SI 1, but I haven't asked enough SI questions, really. Oh, you went away immediately. You were here for a second, then you went away immediately. Now you're back. Let in, I said. But it didn't work. Try again, Lauren. Let it. Oh, it didn't work again. Just give me a second to let you in before you leave right away. Oh, maybe she's having problems with her internet. Or maybe I'm having problems with my internet.
Could be.
Could be. It's possible. That could explain everything. And then finally, everyone understood everything. Remember that day? What's an example of an SI question? Remembering shit you did in the past. Details and stuff. Hi, explicit. Let in. Well, Lauren, you went from G to L. Are you really L, Lauren? Hello? Are you there?
Can you hear me again?
Yes, I can hear you again.
Okay.
I can hear you with the brightness of 1,000 stars. Okay. So I think in general there's a tendency right now to say we think you're an INFJ, but let me ask some more SI questions. So can you tell me about which was better, 6th grade or 7th grade for you?
What's that in UK conversion?
Well, it's ages 11 or 12 or 13. Like it's right in there. Like it's sixth grade is 11 to 12. 7th grade is 12 to 13.
Yeah, definitely 6th grade.
Okay, can you tell me why?
It was a lot better because I was at the end of my final year, my first school, so I had loads of really close friends, and that was before I moved into like high school, I guess. I don't know what you guys call it, but it's
Middle school.
Yeah, I guess middle school, which is like a whole other beast.
Right. Okay.
So
did you go to one of those schools that like paddles you with a board or whatever?
Huh? What do you mean?
You know those boarding schools where they hit you with sticks?
I went to a Catholic school.
Do they still have
They
those in
measured our
England?
skirts to make sure they weren't too short.
Do they still have those in England where they hit you with sticks and stuff?
No,
Oh, they don't have that anymore?
not that bad. Ooh, blazers.
In the olden days, you
Stripy
know,
ties.
the story was all you'd hear about English prep schools was like corporal punishment and abuse and stuff.
They were pretty religious, but
I see. Did
Not
it work?
that bad.
Did it make you into a Catholic?
no, I think it sent me the other way.
Oh,
Not a lot of us made it out alive.
okay. So what's your perspective on the COVID stuff? How is it impacting you experientially?
Experientially, I really miss all my friends, and everyone I work with, and I miss meeting new people, and those are all the things I miss, I guess, experientially. And I find it really hard to see other people suffering when I'm kind of walking around, or listen to people when they're talking about their experiences. It makes me really sad. And I feel very cut off from everyone. Because, I mean, we're in lockdown, like complete lockdown. So we can only leave our house to kind of get food or to go for a walk. So, yeah, no one's been able to kind of meet up socially for about a month now. And it's just sort of dragging on.
Were you a
Not my
fan of
friends
One
are
Direction when they first came out?
Huh?
Were you a fan of One Direction when they first came out?
No.
Okay. There's a question from the chat.
I'm not looking at the chat, actually.
Well, that's good. Don't look at the chat. It's better you don't.
They're not saying anything.
No, the reason I'm saying that
No,
is
just
because
don't.
I like to choose what things I present to you from the chat. And so sometimes they'll say things I don't want you to hear necessarily. Like,
Yeah, okay, I got you.
like maybe they'll give the answers to questions that
Right.
I'm asking or something. So, okay. Sky Gear really wants me to ask you a question about giving vodka to beavers. I'm not sure what that's all about.
Who's the who?
What?
Sky Gear?
Yeah, so I don't know what to say that. Okay, let me ask you some more NI questions. Can you tell me three? Okay, let me. Can you make a story that explains the following scenario? You come home to your flat, as they say in England, and you take the lift up to your flat, and you go in there and you discover that there's a dead body hanging in your bathroom. Now, there's no apparent indications of a break-in at all, but the body appears to have been, from what you can tell, possibly dead before it was hung there, because you don't see like blue face or anything that would show that she had a broken neck or anything like that. And then written on the glass in lipstick, that's not any shade of lipstick that you'd wear, is the words lizards everywhere. Additionally, in a room near your bathroom, one of the lights is flickering on and off mysteriously. Now, again, no sign of a break-in, no sign of anybody there currently except for this dead person's body in the bathroom. What happened? What's your explanation? Solve the mystery.
Is there a right answer, or can I just say anything?
You just make up whatever your explanation is. Ideally, your explanation would be surprisingly sensible, despite all the oddities.
I mean,
I was wondering if you would.
I guess a snake man monster could have climbed through the plug hole and strangled my flatmate, and then if they'd like been bleeding, they could have written it using their tongue in blood. So it wasn't lipstick, it was blood, I guess.
Very good. Yeah, and of course, the thing is, I didn't specify what they were hanging from. It could have been that snake monster still there, and that's what they're hanging from.
Yeah. I mean, you said everything.
That's excellent. Did you think the give the phrase test from the other night was good for NI? Yeah. Okay, all right.
I hated that.
Did you heard that one? Okay, let me try to come up with one.
I don't know any of the phrases.
You don't know those phrases? Okay. Let me think of some British phrases.
Yeah, try and think of something. Also, I was born in the 90s, so.
Okay, here we go. Meow, 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 lovers. Meow, 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 meow.
If you want to, I thought the Spice Girls lyric immediately.
Yeah, that's what it is. Good. Very
lover,
good. Very good. If you want to be my lover, you got to get with my friends. Is correct. That is the correct answer. Okay, let's try another one. Another English expression.
Cool.
Meow, 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 meow. Go out, meow, 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 meow.
I don't know if I know that one.
I'll say it again. I'll give you one more word, okay? Only meow, 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 meow. Go out, meow, 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 meow.
Only, I think I know what you're hinting at.
I put an extra meow at the end by accident.
Only bad people go out of their way to do something.
It's only mad dogs and Englishmen go out in the noonday sun.
Oh, I didn't know that one.
You don't know that expression? You don't even know your own nation's expressions? God. That's your nation's most famous expression.
Well, I don't know.
How about we will meow meow on the meow meow? We will meow meow on the meow meow. We will meow meow on the meow meow.
I have no idea what you're saying right now.
We will fight them on the beaches. We will fight them in the meow meow. We will fight them in the meow meow.
That's not as big over here. I don't know.
That's not as big over there? Come on. That's Winston Churchill's like big moment.
He's old.
All right. Well, I think you're either an INFJ. I think you're an INFJ, is what I think. Probably.
Really?
Yes.
Is that the same as Rachel?
That's the same as Rachel, yeah. Wait, but the thing is, I don't really see. I don't think we have enough proof either way yet. Octavia Silva says, yeah, I don't think so either. But so far, everything's most consistent with that. Okay, well, I don't see. How do you disprove the statement? Okay, here's a question. Ready? How do you disprove this statement? All beavers love vodka, assuming you're in a field of infinitely many beavers and have infinite time to do it, and the beavers never die.
Wait, I'm not sure if I got what
I will repeat the question. I will repeat this important question.
Is it on the chat? Should I read
Yeah,
it?
it is. How do you
Okay,
disprove the
let's see
statement?
if I can find it.
It's at 6:52 p.m. my time. It's very recent. It's just like a little bit back there. How do you disprove the statement, all beavers love vodka, assuming you're in a field of infinitely many beavers that never die and you have infinite time to do it? Infinitely many never dying beavers. What are you going to do with infinitely many never dying beavers? You can't skin them. That would kill them. But they never die.
So what? The problem is that they would what? Attack me?
No, it's asking you. No, the problem here says, how do you disprove the statement, all beavers love vodka, assuming you're in a field of infinitely many beavers and have infinite time to do it? Also, the beavers never die. The answer is fairly straightforward, actually.
You don't give a damn.
You just find an example of a beaver that doesn't love vodka.
Huh?
It's all the information there is a red herring, except for a little bit of it. The answer is simply the same as in any other context. You find an example of a beaver that doesn't love vodka.
Oh, I see. Okay.
Is that right?
Yeah, that was expected.
Sky Gear, did I get it right? I think that's correct. Eric, remember how I said I had to read magic cards to understand them instead of them being read aloud? I think she's showing the same signs here. Okay, so so I like the question as it is with a bunch of fake information, Sky Gear. I like that idea of asking a question with a bunch of fake information and seeing if people can clear through the fake information. Okay, well, I'm gonna go with INFJ. That's my typing of you, and I'm also going to wrap this up because I'm tired of typing and of live streaming. But I think that's what type you are. However, before I wrap it up, I will answer whatever questions you have or hear whatever further thoughts you want to hear me talk about or whatever.
Yeah, I mean, could you explain your reasoning, I guess?
Well, my reasoning is you test somewhere in the 8436 department.
Sorry, PP.
In terms of TI, that you test most likely 8th slot SI. It seemed very 8th slot. It definitely seemed backside, not front slot. Especially because you kind of had to gather yourself before you started to acquire details about your recent past, but you could do it once you attempted to do it. Legends Fall says any seemed front slot though. Rachel's very much equivalently good with the any, and you'll note that it runs out about 3 things in. So it's like it seemed consistent to me with an INFJ successfully working off of what's being presented to them as basically extroverted intuition to begin with. The other explanations are you seem FE tool, not FI front stack. I didn't really ask you. Let me ask you this FI question. Which would you rather do? Would you rather, if you had to do one, would you rather steal a medium amount from somebody or physically do a small amount of physical violence to them?
I probably. That's a difficult question, actually. I don't think I can hurt another person, so I'd probably steal from them.
Okay.
Assuming that they would be able to make back whatever I stole from them.
Okay. If you had to drown either a puppy or a kitten, which would you drown and why?
Whichever one would forget about it or wouldn't be most aware of it, I guess. It's a really horrible question.
Whichever one would be least aware of it? Huh.
I don't know, which, like, if I could, if one of them could be made unconscious more easily, or if one of them, I don't know, didn't struggle as much, maybe.
Okay. So these are typically back slot FI kind of answers. You know, front slot FI people struggle a lot more to render those hypotheticals into just hypotheticals. I don't know, Octavia Silva, you tell me, how would an FI Dom answer that? I mean, last time I tested somebody who was FI 1 or 2, I don't remember which one it was. They wouldn't even answer the first question. They wouldn't answer it. They'd say, I just wouldn't do either of those. I'm just not.
I mean, I've heard you say that question a few times, so I've actually already thought of my answer.
Oh, okay. Well, I mean, the thing is, if then what's relevant is whether you thought this answer and concluded it because you think it's consistent with a given type or not. The extent to which you're aware of the fact that it's consistent with a given type or not, and chose that trying to separate out from your decision making your awareness of that, or trying to factor it in, depends somewhat on what type you are as well. So it's like if you've got good clarity about what I'm likely to conclude about that, and you're giving me the honest answer, despite the fact that you know that it's the answer that correlates better with INFJ, then you're likely an INFJ. I
didn't consider it to that degree.
Okay.
I just thought about it.
I mean, the thing is, it also depends on how much time and attention you've given to cognitive functions. So it depends how long you've been around, kind of, as to how much clarity you have about what I am intending to do with certain kinds of questions, you know? So, okay. A product name question. Octavia Silva wants me to do the product one. So I've come up with a new product. It's a chamber pot with a selfie stick attached to enable you to take selfies of your face while you're peeing without it being other people being aware that that's what you're doing. So basically, you're posing in front of a thing, and this is for dudes mostly, but there's an attachment for chicks if you want to use it. Anyway, so what can you help me come up with a name for this product? Because all I can think of is chamber pot with selfie sticks attached, and the marketing department says that's not good enough.
Ooh, probably call it the free weebie.
The free
so
weebie.
It's like you're freehanding taking photos of something while you're weeing.
Mm.
So it's like
I
the
like
free
it.
weebie.
Can you give me another name for it?
Brandable.
The pot pea, says the bar.
That's not very catchy.
It doesn't really say anything about the pictures.
Huh?
It doesn't say anything about the pictures is the problem.
I thought that you could attach a phone to it and then take photos.
Yeah, you can. Oh, yeah, it's set up for that. Exactly. I agree that
so you can do it free-handed.
That free-handed. Okay. How about the, Oliver Linehan suggests the following: take a piss and post your pics. Well, the piss and post. Piss and post is a pretty good name for it.
Piss and post, yeah.
Yeah, but that would probably turn a lot of people off it.
That's a good point.
I feel like it's not marketable.
So it may be snappy,
like
but snappy, but not marketable. Okay, that's good. FE. That's good. FENI. You're saying, Eric, your pleasure with the snappiness of this little notion here doesn't make it actually a good name. Pissy old stick.
Yeah, in theory it works, but you said at the beginning that you were trying to market it. I guess if you just said come up with anything.
Well, that's a good point. You seem like an INFJ to me. I like Akula's name for pissy old stick. Okay, so I mean, my reasoning is all of basically as simple as this. Almost every single one of your answers has been most consistent with INFJ over something else when paired with the other answers. So it's like, given that your meow seems to be here or here, and your meow has to be here or here, it doesn't seem to leave a lot of other options. It is conceivable that you're an ISFJ, I guess, but I just don't hear the SI frame of reference that I would hear where you're using a lot of citations of examples from your life for things. So I think it's very unlikely.
Okay.
Okay,
I have a question that's
Mhm.
not related.
sure.
So do you think that the Beatles being like ranked high in status of like in terms of like creative rock is an American made thing, or are they a national treasure in the British Isles?
Oh, that's difficult. I think a lot of it was driven by like American popularity, but I mean, considering that Paul McCartney's still releasing records and people are still buying them in the UK,
Really?
I like to think that's probably like off the back of the Beatles stuff.
Oh my gosh, that's so
What do you
great.
think about the Beatles?
That's so great.
What do you personally
But I
think about
mean,
the Beatles?
The Beatles Museum isn't too far from where I live, and a lot of people go there, and it's not just tourists.
Do you like it? Do you like the Beatles?
Yeah, they're okay. Okay.
Okay. All right.
Do a bonus Enneagram guess?
Enneagram. Okay, let's do the Enneagram test real quick.
Okay, but only quickly because I don't want to wake up my flatmates.
Oh, okay, fine.
Because it's 3 a.m.
Then we'll
quickly.
just let it go. It's fine. I'm ready to wrap it up
You
anyway.
sure? Oh, you can't do it quickly.
Okay, fine. How do you deal with shame or avoid shame? Is it by being a helpful person, by being a high achieving person, or by being a rebel who goes, fuck you, I don't need your standards?
I can't accurately pin that one because I kind of do all of them.
Okay, how do you deal with fear, something that's looming that you worry about? Is it you learn all about it so you no longer have reason to be afraid of it? You retreat to your nest and your defenses and get all swaddled up? Or do you bury your head in the sand and fiddle while Rome's burning, pretend that it's not going to happen?
Probably the last one, but maybe the second to last one sometimes.
Okay. And then the last question is, how do you deal with things, people coming at you with anger? Do you anger back, pow pow? Do you appease, hey, don't be mad here, I'll do it, or do you withdraw? Okay, if you're going to be mad, I don't even want to deal with you.
So yeah, somewhere between the last two ones. Maybe, probably more of the second one, I'd say.
Okay, so you're probably a 7-9.
I didn't think I answered the first one.
I don't know what the last one is. 2, 3, or 4. Yeah. 792, 793, or 794. Possibly 793, because that's the one that you'd be hesitant to provide that answer as an INFJ or an FE tool person in general, and that's probably somewhat behind the difficulty answering that. So I'm going to say you're probably a 793.
Wait, which question?
The one about how to avoid shame. Is it by being helpful, by being high achieving, or by being screw you? So yeah, 793 tri-type is called, let me just Google it real quick. 793 tri-type. It's called the ambassador.
Okie dokie.
Yeah. Oh, I think so. Or there's a more specific one though. Let me find the exact name of it. Per- 793.
First page.
It's on the first page. Okay. 131.
Oh, I'm so glad we did this, actually. This is so different to what I was kind of expecting, which is really eye-opening.
2. I'm glad to hear it. Where
Thank
can
you.
I find 7?
Try page 2.
3. Okay, I'll try page 2.
There we go.
793.
Yeah, the ambassador.
793 is the networker. And it says positive motivator, hooking up people with introducing them to others, optimistic but avoids conflict or sweeps under the carpet. 7, wing 8, likely to be social rather than sexual or self-preserving. The social, sexual, self-preserving, if you don't know, SX means you like to be part of a 2-person couple. SO means even if you are part of a couple, you like that to be subsumed by the larger network or community. And SP means you prefer, if you're part of a couple, for you to be 2 independent operators. Like you want to keep separate finances and stuff like that.
Mm-hmm.
So this is saying basically if you are 793, you're most likely to be social rather than self-preserving or sexual subtype or instinctual variant, they call it.
Yeah, I mean, I can check out the 3 again, but that sounds fairly bang on.
Yeah. So anyway.
But then I thought I was an ENFP for ages, so I don't know.
You know,
So did I.
Rachel kept testing as ENFP, but she's actually an INFJ. So also being an INFJ 7, I think tends to make one test more as an ENFP because it tends to make one more creatively active. So Rachel's like very much into making stuff too. Like you're saying, you make music and you write and stuff. Rachel is, we don't necessarily always make stuff because we kind of make each other lazy sometimes, but she very much enjoys making stuff in multiple media. And that's probably part of why she frequently tested as ENFP.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I tested it a lot as ENFP. Well, a lot. I mean, I took the test like maybe like 4 times total, and ENFP always was the one that came out, and it just socially it didn't make sense. Like I would go searching like really for people who were like INTJs and stuff, and though I was like sort of right, the relationships like didn't really like make sense. So yeah, so I would definitely look into talking with famous people. INFJ videos, they're really, what Eric has is really informative. I definitely would recommend his videos on INFJs.
Cool.
All right, thanks, Lauren. Have a pleasant evening. Good night.
Good night. Don't forget to eat plenty of cheese.
Well, that was pleasant. I'm not going to quite end the live stream yet. I'm going to spend a few more minutes talking about that experience a little bit as well. So Upton Plate says maybe Rachel's an ENFP and MBTI/BB, but INFJ in your system. Look, the point is, forget those names. Rachel is NIFE.
Yeah.
Okay.
And totally TE polar.
And that lady was also, I think, I'm pretty sure, NIFE. And if you say, well, that's just the same thing as any FI in another system, well, then it doesn't make any sense, right? It's like, well, my calculations here show there's a mixture of gold, copper and lead in this amalgamated metal here. And the other person saying, well, I say it's amethyst, obsidian, and silicon. Well, it's not like it's a different system. It's one person's using a wrong tool that's measuring it wrong and getting the wrong results. The other person's using the right tool and getting it right, and he's getting the right results. There's no multiple system agreeableness there. It doesn't work like that. So, there's a right answer and a wrong answer because we're all talking about the same things necessarily, which are cognitive functions. Cognitive functions are ways of paying attention. If your basic way of paying attention is to know first, universally, intuitively, then you are an NI-DOM. If your basic approach is to put information on a universal level or external playing field of language or whatever, then you're an NE-DOM. It's a fundamentally different way of paying attention. So, okay. How does a TE-DOM pay attention? Well, everything's an interface. It's crazy. It's really difficult for me to deal with sometimes Jeffrey's mom because she wants to interface every situation. She wants to interface it according to the specs. So her solution to how to deal with this teacher is to try to sculpt her son's work into exactly what that teacher wants. That's a way of interfacing it. Figure out what the teacher wants, make your thing more like what the teacher wants. I'm saying instead of trying to be something you're not in order to appeal to this person who has bad aesthetics, instead attack and say, your aesthetics are wrong. Here's my way of warping your assignment into a way of expressing my contempt for your frame of reference, basically. And so that's a very meta-analyst approach. She doesn't get the value of that. She cannot get beyond the idea that she could just interface it. She can have her cake and eat it too. She's ignoring TI and she's polar NI.
I have an idea. Maybe sometime we can interview my dad. I know for a fact he'd be fine with the recording. And that way, like, people can see, like, TI and FI, TI polar and FI in the second.
Yeah. Well, I mean,
or would it be annoying?
That'd be fine.
But yeah, my dad, I'm sure, but he'd be thrilled if I said, "Can we do a Zoom?" I don't know how to Zoom at all, but he could probably figure it out. Or we could do Whereby. That's probably. Is it raining?
Looks like it is. Looks like we got water falling from the sky. You are not going to believe this, guys. Water is literally falling out of the sky.
Today was a good day.
We didn't have to use our AKs at all today, did we?
No, we didn't.
We kept our AKs locked up in the closet where they belong.
Yes, they do belong there.
Shall we like to sing a song or two with me, Rachel, before we close out the live stream?
Sure.
That sounds pleasant.
That does sound pleasant.
We can practice a couple of songs. So, for those of you who are unaware or new, which are probably very few, if any, I usually taking lately to ending these live streams by playing a couple of songs. I'm aware of the fact that a lot of people don't really want to listen to me play songs or whatever, and that's fine. So that's why I save it to the very end. I will be ending it after we play a couple of songs. If you don't want to hear the songs, then you're free to go.
Lauren Cuthbert, no, you didn't offend me at all. I actually genuinely wanted to know if it's like an Americanized thing or if like they're like seen as a national treasure.
Octavia, I would have to ask the question of polars and find out how difficult that is, Okay, so let's start with this one.
I don't think I'll ever not be nervous before.
Well, that's part of why we practice them here in this easy squeezy context.
Once I
Because
do it, I'm like, I get over the hump.
okay, here we go. You want me to sing with you through the first verse or whatever?
Yeah, please.
Just brooding here won't do any good, but brooding's more and more my style. I seek the cheery ways of standing where we stood, 'cause I've been stuck here a while. And that's despite a natural selfishness that makes it easy to have fun. But flutters in the gut become a fist as all my visions come undone. I tried to stray distracting in the afternoon away, but heavy new realities are breaking every day, and for a bit I am out of it. For reasons still unsaid, still I need expectorate. What is inside my head?
Seems like everybody's so sensitive, so ready to just get mad. I seek the simple ways of living like a kid, 'cause who wants to be the dad? Have we lost our sense of scope and scale, our capacity to laugh, the sense to know when not to wail, and how to tip the golden calf?
I tried to stay distracted in the afternoon away, but heavy new realities bear down on every day, and for a bit I am out of it. The reasons still unsaid, still I need to get out of me. What's inside my head? And so I'm sad, sad for me, sad for her, unhappily. And what you call sorrow, I call home. Blues that sing clear down to the bone. Still I'm sad, so sad for me, sad for him, unhappily. And what you call sorrow, I call home. Blues that sing clear down to the bone. Good. Very nicely done. Let's sing. You want to try this one? Jesus is
Sure.
People? We'll just try to sing all the parts together.
Okay.
If Jesus was people but absent of sin, he must then have struggled with regular men. Women, of course, and they too were present. Disciples all warily eyeing the lesson. People were Jesus, they'd know as they think,
And everyone's work would be true. Feelings once spoken would settle and sink, and we'd all know just what to do.
but people on Jesus, once they're betrayed, easy believing forever is lost. Maybe not easy not to be saved, the wise pay terrible cost. Does virtue require a rational take, or is virtue that's reasoned invariably fake? Does using itself just distract from the flow, or is care better served by deliberate and slow? People are Jesus once they're betrayed, easy believing forever is lost. Maybe naivete is not to be saved, but the wise pay terrible cost. The one you thought you
You thought you knew.
acts like you never have met. The love you made for two has faded into regret.
There's no one unshaken. We all have been shook for being forsaken. Don't mean you were
Forsook.
so.
So in the past we've been hung out to dry. Find them at last if we're ready to try. People are Jesus once they're betrayed.
Easy believing forever is lost.
Maybe naivete is not to be saved, but the wise pay terrible cost. Yeah, maybe naivete is not to be saved, but the wise pay terrible cost. Okay.
Yeah, that really wasn't bad.
Let's see here. Let's try playing this song here. You're familiar with this one, right? Or is that too many? Which, or you want to sing the background in this one?
This is the background.
There's the,
Chorus.
yeah. Hostilities, hostilities, okay. We'll play this then, and you sing the background in the chorus.
Okay.
You're living on a time frame I will never know. Alienation and humanity's soul. Imagine you a future after the collapse, returning to the urgency of isolated past. You're picturing community free of metaphysics, hunting buffalo while you're picking red delicious. Knowledge of the seasons, wisdoms of old, fires blazing in the night to keep away the cold. Hostility is kept at bay.
Hostility is kept at bay
By what you think is in the way
by what you think is in the way
of life as children
of
the land, with an agave weatherman. Imagining a history that never could have been. You lecture at the college, advancement is a sin. Lamenting disconnection at every corporate act. Asserting all your feelings and ignoring all the facts. Hostility is kept at bay.
Hostility is kept at bay
By what you think is in the way
by what you think is in the way
of life as children of the land, with an agave weatherman. You find modernity just so banal. Wish you had been born any time, but now
Oh, wow.
experience won't run afoul of exceptions you might allow. Visualize nobility sipping on some port, or tribes of peaceful savages in dutiful comport. But few of history's people ever thusly did cavort, 'cause life was solitary, nasty, brutish, poor, and short. Hostility is kept at bay
Hostility is kept at bay
by what you think is in the way
by what you think is in the way
of life as children
of
the land, with an agave weatherman. With an agave weatherman.
Yay!
All right, everybody. Thanks for being here.
Thanks for being here, guys.
Don't forget to eat plenty of cheese.
Yeah.